Ugh, so annoying. You and Ella are really a pain. I wish you'd just disappear. Henry hurled unbelievable insults at me and his own daughter. Just when I thought I couldn't trust this man anymore, an incident occurred. Ella? One day, when I returned home from work, Ella was sitting on the ground in the garden. Her hands, clutching her knees, were trembling from the cold. Even with a coat on, her exposed cheeks and the backs of her hands had turned red and black. Seeing my face, Ella smiled weakly, relieved. Mom, welcome back. Why are you in the garden? What happened? Where's Dad? Ella, still smiling, muttered resignedly, Mila and a family trip. Leaving just a sister and calling it a family trip, abandoning Ella, was a cruel act filled with malice. What does he think of Ella's existence? Of Ella's life? Henry probably underestimates me as a weak woman with little income. Indeed, that's true. But a mother becomes strong at times. Such a father is not needed. I am Aurora, a housewife in her 40s. I have 2 daughters, Ella in the 2nd grade of elementary school, Mila, 3 years old. When Mila started kindergarten, I began working part-time. Not having worked since Ella's birth, I was indeed tired, both physically and mentally. But I was happy to have more adult interactions, having had little contact with people before. Mom, I made dinner. Ella did? Wow, thank you. Returning home 30 minutes after Ella's school day, she was proud. To think she'd help out, considering how tired I am from part-time work, was touching. Until recently, I even prepared her morning clothes. I tried to hug her in my happiness, but she dodged me. Come on, I always say I don't like hugs. It's a bit sad, but my daughters are growing up fast. But the presence of my rebellious eldest son has been troubling me lately. Yuck, what's this meal? It's terrible. My eldest son, no, my husband, Henry, exaggeratedly complained. The flavor is too bland. Terrible. Who can eat this? It's trash. Today's meal was indeed a bit bland. I had informed Henry during meal preparation. Today's meal was made by Ella. That was how I phrased it, yet he chose to loudly fuss about it. Hey, Henry, stop it. Ugh, why are you angry? I just spoke the truth. I'm not in the wrong. Ella bit her lip and glared at Henry. Hey, you think it's okay to make that face at your parents? You're really insolent. Not cute. You can't even make a decent meal. You're finished as a woman. Such words shouldn't be said to a grade school daughter. My head heated up, and I took a deep breath. Then Mila appeared between us. Dad, can't eat the meal? Mila will cast a spell, she said, showing the jam. Stretching, she spread jam on Henry's bread. Let it be delicious. Let it be delicious. See, Dad, you shouldn't be picky. Eat a lot and grow big. The tense atmosphere softened instantly. Henry's face relaxed and he patted Mila's head. Mila, thank you. Mila is cute, huh? Yeah, Mila is cute. Big sister is cute too. Mila is cuter. Dad, love. Mila looked up at Henry with an unaffected smile. She was truly a magician. She easily silenced Henry, who had been so maliciously smiling at trying to belittle Ella. Our family isn't close, but it's normal enough. Henry doesn't have much interest in me or our daughters, even when Mila had trouble with friends. So? I can't do anything about it. He was indifferent. However, he drinks beer moderately and doesn't gamble. Of course, he doesn't have a violent side. He just leaves everything about the house and daughters to me. Not a bad person per se, just a man with no sense of fatherhood, I guess. Our relationship started to crumble about half a year ago. Henry came home drunk and overly cheerful one day. Hi, Lord Daddy has returned. He messed with the daughters who were about to sleep. Dad, don't stick to me, you smell. Don't say that. Dad's a good man, right? You love me, right? Stop it. Thinking back, that day marked the beginning of Ella calling Henry smelly and avoiding him, and Henry started finding Ella annoying and not cute. Even on days when Henry hadn't been drinking, Ella would glare at him and call him smelly. I, suffering from chronic rhinitis, wouldn't understand, but girls of her age are sensitive, I suppose. Since Ella doesn't directly insult Henry, I consider it a part of her growing up and watch over her. But the real problem is Henry. I've got souvenirs! Returning from work, Henry loudly announced, showing us a box of cakes. Even Ella smiled at this moment, but upon opening the box, there were only 2 cakes. I secretly felt down, thinking there were only enough for the daughters, being a cake lover myself. Here, Mila, you get the chocolate cake. You like it, right? Yeah, I love it. And this cheesecake is for... Henry smirked mischievously. It's mine! Ella's smile vanished instantly. She turned her back on Henry and, dismissing it as silly, turned on the TV. I couldn't help but let out an irritated, huh? At the blatant harassment. Wait a minute, what about Ella's share? This isn't right. Henry, as if he had anticipated being criticized from the start, sneered in a way that was unsettling. Hey, I bought it with my money. I don't see why I should be scolded by you. Here, Mila, let's eat together. Okay, let's eat. Big sister, Mom, let's share. The pure Mila brushed aside Henry's malice. Joyfully, she started preparing plates and forks for 4. No, it's just for me and Mila. Henry was flustered, but faced with Mila's radiant smile, he bit his lip hard. Still, Ella seemed uncomfortable. So, I ran to the nearby grocery store and came back with lots of sweets. Let's start our dessert party. Finally, a smile returned to Ella's face. In contrast, Henry clicked his tongue, ostentatiously eating a cheesecake. Ella's favorite, with exaggerated chewing and making a strange display. Henry must have been very displeased, for he complained even the next morning. You spoil Ella too much. Buying her cake just because she pouts a little will only make her more arrogant. She's cheeky, so you need to discipline her properly. Discipline? Giving Mila cake but not Ella is your idea of discipline? That just makes Ella feel bad, and Mila can't enjoy her cake either. Think about both of their feelings. Henry probably can't keep up with Ella's growth, but what's the point of responding to a rebellious daughter with a rebellious attitude? Henry needs to realize he's a parent. You're a father. Henry slammed his hand on the table. Yeah, I am a father. My child shouldn't be disrespecting me. It really pisses me off when she glares at me all the time. Raising his voice, he sounded like a delinquent teenager. Ugh, so annoying. Really, so annoying. You and Ella are both so annoying. I wish you'd just disappear. If these were the words of a son in the throes of a rebellion, maybe I could have handled it as a mother. But the reality is, Henry is Ella's father. These aren't words a father should say to his daughter. Disappear? What are you saying? Are you sane? That's it. Talking to you was a waste of time. I've got to work now, you know. Unlike you, I'm busy. If you want to keep talking, pay me. $10 for 3 minutes should do. You work part-time, you can afford $10, right? Henry couldn't hold back his laughter. Part-time pay is what, about $8 an hour? Wow, with that stance, you dared to complain to me. You're living thanks to me, so making me feel comfortable is your job. First, deal with that selfish Ella. Make her unable to be selfish. Got it? I felt hot all over. My brain seemed to boil. Dirty words I wanted to hurl at Henry kept coming to mind, but I couldn't speak them. Probably, my face was red with rage, shaking. Wow, what a weird face. Why did I even marry someone as annoying and ugly as you? Alright, because of Ella. So my life got messed up because of Ella? Everything's Ella's fault, huh? Henry left for work with a half smile. I suppressed the urge to scream and hit my chest hard. Luckily, Ella and Mila were still asleep. I despised Henry, of course, but I was also furious with myself. Ella? Mila? I want to protect you. I crouched down and cried silently. How powerless I am. I want to leave Henry right away, but I can't. Just as Henry says, my part-time job pays less than $10 an hour. I alone can't provide my daughters with a life any different from now. Even such a father is necessary. Feeling powerless, ashamed, and unable to stop my tears. Mom, good morning. Mom, are you okay? I hear Ella and Mila's voices behind me. I can't show my daughters a mother crying. Crouching down, I couldn't even respond. After a while, I catch my breath and wipe away the tears. Then I'm back to being the cheerful mother I always am. Sorry. Good morning, you two. Mom will make breakfast in a bit, so wait for me, okay? I smile brightly at my daughters and head towards the kitchen, but Ella grabs my hand tightly. Mila grasps the other hand. The warmth of their hands looking up at me seeps through. I want to protect them. Even more strongly, I resolve. Attempts to talk to Henry afterward were futile. Henry refuses to listen. The problem is Ella's annoying attitude. He insists. Indeed, Ella doesn't say it, but she obviously avoids Henry, so I advised her, but he smells. It's not good to express it in her attitude, even at her age. It hurts a father too. But Ella hesitantly mumbled, but as if it was difficult to say. The smell of Dad, I really hate it. Don't you notice, Mom? Ella's eyes filled with tears. Finally, she shared what she had been holding back in her heart. Sweet smell from Dad? Confused, I listened as Ella nodded. The relationship between Henry and Ella remained strained. Henry doted on Mila alone, treating Ella roughly. Mila is really cute. If only I have Mila, I'm happy. I was about to speak out in anger when Ella stopped me. Any words would only lead to a pointless argument. Mila only? That's stupid. Ella whispered so only I could hear, shrugging in exasperation. The incident happened this weekend. Unusually, I had part-time work on a Saturday, and I left for a half day. Part-time on a Saturday? Well, I'll take care of Mila, so you can work in peace. You'll earn at least tonight's dinner money, right? Irritated by Henry's sarcastic tone, but trusting him with Mila, his favorite, I let Ella go to a friend's house in the morning. After work dragged on, I hurried home around 2 p.m., later than the planned 1 p.m. Henry, did you feed Ella and the rest lunch? No, they might be waiting for me. As I went to unlock the entrance, I felt a slight presence from the garden. The garden, small, with just a pot of mini tomatoes Ella brought from school, now barren in winter, isn't a place the girls usually play. A bad feeling led me to peek into the garden. Ella? There, sitting on the soil of the garden, was Ella. Rushing over, I found her hugging her knees, her hands trembling from the cold. Ella? Why? Even with a coat on, her exposed cheeks and hands were red and blackened. I wrapped her ice-cold hands in mine and rubbed them to warm her up. Seeing my face, Ella smiled weakly, relieved. Mom, you're back. Sorry to keep you waiting, but why are you in the garden? What happened? Where's Dad? Ella, keeping a smile on her lips, murmured as if giving up. Mila and a family trip. Remembering how happy Henry was this morning about spending time with Mila, I had dropped Ella off at a friend's house and then headed straight to work. I had also told Henry that Ella would be back by noon. Around noon, when Ella came home, it seemed Henry and Mila were just leaving. A trip? A family trip? Announcing it as a family trip seemed like a malicious act filled with ill intent. And to leave Ella out in the cold without even unlocking the house? What do they think Ella's existence, Ella's life, is worth? Sorry. It must have been cold. It's okay now. I hugged Ella tightly. On the damp, cold soil, Ella finally let her tears fall. I don't want to see Ella's sad smile or her tears anymore. Then we'll move out, just the two of us. Huh? Ella was surprised. The move I had been planning for some time, deciding now was the time to act. But what about Mila? Mila will be okay. Encouraging Ella, who was a bit anxious, we immediately started preparing to move. While packing, I called Henry. It took several tries, but finally, Henry answered after I redialed a few times. What? You're calling too much. It's scary. He should know best why I was calling him repeatedly. Where did you go, leaving Ella behind? Out with Mila. She's my child, what's wrong with taking her out? It's okay to go out, but leaving Ella behind is terrible. I tried to stay calm, but I couldn't help raising my voice. I feared Henry would get angry if I spoke like that, but surprisingly, he was nonchalant. Ugh, Ella's already in elementary school. It's fine. You're too overprotective. He seemed to be enjoying a family outing. From the other side of the phone, I could probably hear the joyful music of an amusement park. Give me back Mila. No way! Don't talk about her like she's your property. Mila loves me more than you. Henry laughed out loud. I wanted to cover my ears to block his unpleasant laughter, but I could faintly hear Mila's voice. Hey, is that Mom on the phone? Then the call was cut off. No matter how many times I redialed, I couldn't get through to Henry again. Having no other choice, I left a note on the table stating we were leaving and departed with Ella. Henry called late at night. Where are you? Why aren't you here? I left a note. Ella and I can't keep up with you anymore. That's why we left the house. Huh? What about meals? Even now, all he's worried about is meals. I was so dismayed, I was speechless. Don't mess around. Your job is to make meals and clean. Hurry back. I'm not coming back. What? Then what about today's meal? It's unfair to just leave like this. If I didn't respond, Papa, I'm hungry. I could hear Mila whining. Papa, hey Papa, dinner. Mila, since Mom left on her own, there's no meal. This is so annoying. Maybe I'll order takeout. But then we spent quite a bit on the trip. What a hassle. While I was concerned about Mila, I hung up the phone. Henry should enjoy his precious time with the lovely Mila as much as he wants. And then, 3 days passed. Henry had been calling frequently, but I ignored all his calls. Today too, from early morning, the phone hasn't stopped ringing. The calls would end and then start again. Thinking it was about time, I answered the phone. Hey, I've called you so many times. What are you doing? Come back home now. That's why I'm not coming back. Shut up. Come back. Just somehow, please. I could feel the weariness in Henry's voice. Perhaps he was tired from being with Mila, something he had never involved himself with before. Pleaded by Henry, I returned home. As I opened the door, Mila ran towards me like a dog. She leaped into my arms with force. Mama, welcome back! Mila, I'm home. Were you lonely? Not at all. I'm fine. Mila answered brightly with a smile. From behind her, a worn-out Henry walked in. Where have you been, and what have you been doing all this time? Henry, with bags under his eyes, looked resentful. I left a note about leaving. More importantly, where did you take Mila without permission? To the amusement park. Before Henry could finish, Mila told me. I went to the amusement park with Papa. Wow, Mila, that's great. Did you have fun with Papa? You know, Amelia's mom was also there. Really? Amelia's mom? I turned around slowly, while Henry looked away. Hey, Henry, who's Amelia's mom? Henry, avoiding my gaze, seemed to be searching for an excuse. Well, Amelia is... As Henry fumbled, Mila, with a beaming smile, revealed the truth. Amelia's mom is Mila's new mom. I have 2 moms now. Isn't that great? I stroked Mila's head, who seemed happy. No, that's not it. Mom is only Aurora. Right, Aurora? Henry was panicking. Making a child call your affair partner mom is the worst. I spoke in a surprisingly low voice. We have no choice but to divorce. It's because of your affair. No, wait. Let's not rush into a divorce. Really, it's not what it seems. And it's over with Amelia. Henry, usually so confident, was desperately trying to cling to me. I knew you were cheating. Ella told me. She said she could smell sweetness coming from you. She was avoiding you not because of the smell, but because she hated having a father who cheats. Hearing that Ella knew, even Henry grimaced. but he didn't stop making excuses. Amelia and I were just hanging out. It wasn't anything serious. And it's really over with her. Tell Ella it was a misunderstanding. So no divorce. Just 3 days ago, he had taken Mila on a fake family trip. It's hard to believe such words. But, well, it was inevitable, I nodded. So you got dumped by your affair partner? Henry nodded silently. You're a father with children. A man who easily breaks his family won't be happy, even if he remarries. Keep silent if you're going to spout nonsense like that. I'm not at fault. It's Mila's fault that Amelia dumped me. Henry pointed at Mila. What do you mean, Mila's fault? You enjoyed the amusement park, right? The amusement park, yes, but after you left, I had to bring Amelia home. That's the worst. It's your fault for leaving on your own. Even Amelia, after taking care of Mila for half a day, just left. That coward. Henry, though agitated, soon slumped his shoulders and drooped his back. By the way, Mila, what's going on with her? What do you mean? She's a kind girl. Even now, trying to stop our fight, she brought us snacks, filling up my hands and Henry's pockets. We couldn't hold any more, and yet, Mila ran back to get more snacks. At the amusement park, she was so excited she got lost many times, which was annoying. But worse than that, her tantrums since coming back from the park have been too much. I ordered takeout for dinner and she cried because she didn't want either hot dogs or hamburgers. Mila doesn't even like hot dogs or hamburgers to begin with. So I ordered pizza too, but she was still loudly fussing. Of course, Mila likes plain bread. She's particular about only having jam on it. Huh? You allow that kind of pickiness? Mila is out of control. She hardly sleeps at night, and when she does, she starts crying out. When am I supposed to sleep? So that's why the bags under Henry's eyes were so dark. Normally, Henry sleeps in a separate room from my daughters and me, but I guess he never bothered about the noise, considering it none of his concern. She's crazy, you know. The moment we go outside, she suddenly starts running. What's with that? I thought she was excited at the amusement park, but she just runs off into the street without any sense. I tried to walk her to kindergarten, but it was impossible. Henry was handed more snacks by Mila. Despite Mila looking up at him with a smile, Henry didn't return the smile and remained serious. Sitting down in the hallway, Henry held his head in his hands. I'm tired. It's your fault. You failed at parenting. You're a failure as a mother, aren't you? I squatted down in front of Henry, looking straight into his face. I'm a failure as a mother? What about you, who knew nothing about Mila, even though she's already 3 years old? What have you been looking at for these 3 years? Henry's face turned red with anger. Shut up! I'm working, so it's your responsibility to take care of the kids. Don't burden me anymore, just come back home. I sighed while still looking directly at Henry. Did we fail at parenting? Yeah, a massive failure. Really? Is that so? I stood up, looking down at Henry with cold eyes. So, the father who shows no interest in his children and cheats is the one who turned out to be a failure? Henry, that's what you've become. What? Being mean to a defiant child? Abandoning a child who doesn't do as you wish? Is that being a father? We don't need a failed father like that. Henry couldn't stand up under the pressure. Somewhere, I had thought parenting was my job, and I had been considerate of Henry, who was providing for us. But I can't want to continue as a family with Henry, whose foolishness has been so clearly exposed. Come back? No way. I just came to pick up Mila. Henry, you're not needed. I'm not your mom. I have no obligation to indulge your whims. Ugh, are you mad? Henry, usually so pompous, instantly loses his drive when I push back even a little. Sorry, I was wrong to cheat, but I'll properly break up with Amelia, okay? She's the worst, you know. She said she wanted to take care of cute little Mila if we got married, but she gave up after half a day. Useless, right? She's over 30 and still lives with her parents. Can't even make a meal. Mila's mom is only you, after all. Who was it that looked down on me as a failure as a mother just a while ago? Trying to smooth things over with whatever he says, I felt deeply that he's utterly untrustworthy. Right. I'm Mila and Ella's mother, so I'll never abandon them and will protect them. Then, as a father, I cut off Henry's voice. It's too late. We don't need Henry. Why don't you go back to your mom and get re-raised? Henry, whether out of anger or despair, trembled slightly with his hands on the floor. He breathed heavily and looked down. Papa, I'll give you some snacks. Worried, Mila stacked snacks in front of Henry. Henry slightly lifted his head and took Mila's hand. Mila, you like Papa, right? Yeah, I like you. So you'd be sad if Papa was gone, right? Not really. It's okay if you're not here. Henry's smile twisted. But you said you liked me, right? Yeah, I like you. This much. Mila showed how much by barely touching her fingertips together. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. That's basically zero. Then Mila spread her arms wide. And I love Mama this much. She ran down the hallway. From here to here. That's how much I love Mama, she shouted. You know, like bigger than our house. That's how much I love Mama. Like the universe. That's how much I love Mama. Mila's love was unstoppable. As Mila's smile shone brighter, Henry's face turned paler. So that's why we don't need Henry. Goodbye. Henry weakly raised his right hand as if to say, ugh, but seemed to lack the energy to call out. I picked up Mila and left the house we had shared with Henry. Left alone, Henry seemingly had no choice but to call back his affair partner, Amelia. Even if she was bad at household chores, she was probably better than Henry, who couldn't do anything. With the troublesome child gone, there was nothing to disrupt the two of them, so it wouldn't be surprising if their love rekindled. I learned about these two from the mom friends living nearby. They were surprised to see a woman they didn't know entering and exiting my house. I thanked them for their concern and made sure to explain the situation clearly to avoid any misunderstandings. The rumor quickly spread throughout the neighborhood and somehow even reached Henry's company. The world feels small indeed. About a month after I left the house, when I contacted Henry by phone, Aurora? He responded with a voice overflowing with joy. Long time! Have you been well? Missed me since I wasn't around? I've been waiting for a call from you. Even though you're living with your affair partner? How do you know? No, but I kicked her out. That was a lie. You were dumped by your affair partner, weren't you? Huh? It seems the rumor of being cheated on and abandoned by his wife made it difficult for Henry to stay at his company, and he ended up resigning. He probably thought he would find a new job quickly, since he was capable at work. Don't act so high and mighty when you're unemployed, right? So how do you know? Don't act so high and mighty when you're unemployed. That was the last thing the affair partner hurled at Henry. They had a big fight and were even yelling in front of the house, as I heard from the aforementioned mom friends. Probably you just ran away from an uncomfortable workplace, but couldn't find another job, right? Hit the nail on the head. Henry fell silent. And yet at home, you strutted around, not even bothering to carry your used dishes to the kitchen. Even your affair partner who loved you didn't have the hobby of catering to such an arrogant unemployment. Ugh! I gave you a chance to grow by telling you that you were a failure, but you couldn't improve. Henry's heart must have reached its limit, being hurt by his pride by me, the children, and his affair partner. The reason I contacted you today is not because I was worried about you, nor because I want to reconcile with you. I stated in an emotionless voice. Sign the divorce papers I sent before, quickly. There was no reason to keep in touch with Henry except to sever ties. Henry, not wanting to be attacked any further, agreed to the divorce amicably. We got a lawyer involved and received a proper settlement for alimony and division of property. This should ensure that my daughters and I won't have trouble living for the foreseeable future. Sorry for being late. When I returned home from work, a pleasant aroma filled the air. Oh, beef stew today, huh? Grandma and I made it. Great, I can't wait to eat. I moved back to my parents' house with my daughters. My parents aren't wealthy, and Ella had to change schools because the district changed. Friends can be made anywhere, but you only have one mama. I hesitated to rely on my parents, but Ella encouraged me. Now, with my parents' help, I can work full time. Hey, Mama! Mila made the carrots in the beef stew into star shapes. Isn't Mila amazing? My parents indulged Mila's quirks and unbelievable actions with a smile. They seem to have more patience because she's a beloved grandchild. I remember them being stricter with me when I was a child, though. Ella and Mila's beef stew is so yummy. There's a secret ingredient. What could it be? Love? Ella shows a wry smile. The correct answer is chocolate. Mila couldn't hold back and blurted out the answer. Such an ordinary life feels overwhelmingly happy.